The auspicious hour for the wedding arrived, but the groom Gu Jiusi was nowhere to be seen. Rumors started flying, and everyone thought the Jiu family was about to call the whole thing off. The situation got tense when the Liang King's envoy showed up, insisting on speaking to Gu Jiusi directly. Jiuzi's father, Jiu Langkua, tried to smooth things over, but the envoy wasn't having it. Just as the tension peaked, Gu Jiusi himself appeared, looking dashing in his wedding attire. He made it clear to everyone that he had no intention of backing out of the marriage. With that, the Liang King's envoy witnessed the marriage of Jiu Gusi and Liu Gru before taking his leave. After the ceremony, Jiu Langhua pulled his son aside and gave him a stern warning. He had to behave himself and properly consummate the marriage with Lu Yu that very night. Meanwhile, back at the Liu family residence, a different kind of drama was unfolding. Lu Yuru's stepmother, Zhang Yuer, had been gleefully planning to pocket all of Lu Yuru's betrothal gifts. But her schemes came to a screeching halt when she discovered that all the shops on E Street, part of the dowry, were registered directly under Liu Yuru's name. She was shocked. Jiu Guzi's mother, the formidable Jiang Ro, explained the situation with just a few choice words,
leaving the concubine Zhang Yuer utterly humiliated. Lu Yuru's father, Lu Zhuan, turned pale, realizing he'd been out.
To twist the knife, Zhang Ro added that this brilliant arrangement was actually Zhu Gizuzi's own idea. She then asked Lu Yuru's maid, the Yun, to escort the new bride to her room. As soon as Zhang Ro was gone, Zhang Yuer erupted, complaining bitterly to Lu Zhuan. But Lu Yuru's biological mother, Su Wan, a woman of great foresight and wisdom, calmly pointed out that this arrangement was actually a good thing for the Lue family's future. Her logical words made Zhang Yuer's greedy complaints seem petty and short-sighted. Seeing the wisdom in Su Wan's words, Lu Zhuan made a snap decision. He would return the management of the entire Lu household to Su Wan. Zhang Yuer, realizing she was losing power, tried to protest. But Lu Zhuan pretended not to understand her objections and simply agreed with his own decision. Defeated and humiliated, Zhang Yuer could do nothing but drink her frustrations away. Later, the maid Yun relayed all of this to Lu Yu, who was overjoyed to hear that her mother's position was finally secure. She reflected on her past. Her previous engagement to the Xian was not meant to be. But maybe, just maybe, this new husband, Jiu Jiusi, wasn't the scoundrel she'd imagined. For the first time, Lu Yuru felt a glimmer of hope that she could build a good life for herself. After dealing with all the guests, Jiu Jiusi finally made his way to the bridal chamber. As he entered, the Yun discreetly slipped out. The room was silent. Jiu Jiusi could sense that Lu Yu wasn't happy to be married to him. He was a free spirit, and the last thing he wanted was to force her into a loveless marriage. So, on their wedding night, he dropped a bombshell. He proposed a divorce.
Lu Yuru, who had just started to feel a sliver of hope, was completely blindsided.
The absurdity of it, all a divorce proposal on her wedding night, was too much, and she burst into tears.
Jiu Zuzi, flustered by her tears, tried to explain himself.
He awkwardly tried to comfort her, but he just didn't know how. He then asked her a simple question. Do you even like me? The heartbroken look in her eyes was all the answer he needed. He admitted that while she was a model of a refined lady, exactly the kind of virtuous daughter-in-law his mother wanted, she wasn't his type. He confessed that he dreamed of a woman who was just as free-spirited as him, someone who would travel the world with him, a woman with simple tastes and uncontrollably.
Jiuzi, feeling cornered and overwhelmed, couldn't take it anymore.
In a panic, he did the most ridiculous thing he could think of. He jumped out of the window and fled into the night. The next morning, Lu Yuru's maid, Yin Hong, came to wake her and found her still down in the main hall. Jiusi's parents were eagerly waiting for the newlyweds to perform the traditional tea ceremony. But Liu Yuru, cold and distant, simply told Yin Hong to inform them that she was ill and wouldn't be coming. Meanwhile, Zhu Guzi's troublemaking friends gave him some terrible advice. To rebel against his forced marriage, Gu Jiusi marched straight to a famous pleasure house, Langshofen. He made a huge scene, spending a fortune to hire 9 of the most famous courtesans to entertain him. News of his scandalous behavior quickly reached his father, Zhu Langhua, who was so furious he threatened to break his son's legs. His wife, Zhang Rou, managed to calm him down, promising to handle the situation. She then went to speak with Lu Yu's confession, his proposal for divorce, and his escape through the window. Zhang Rou was shocked. She realized that this marriage had made them both miserable and that her son had deeply wounded this young woman's heart. Lu Yuru confessed that she had no hope for the future and felt trapped. She didn't care what Gu Jiusi did anymore. His heart retreated to the family's Buddhist hall to copy scriptures and pray, essentially living the life of a recluse. Zhang Rou, a truly compassionate mother-in-law, felt immense sympathy for Lu Yuru. She couldn't bear the thought of this bright young woman wasting away in solitude. Instead of letting her hide away, Zhang Rou came up with a better idea. She suggested that Lu Yuru accompany her to manage the family's shops. It would be a way to get her out of the house, give her a purpose, and maybe, just maybe, help her find a new path forward. And that, my friends, is where our story takes a turn. What will happen to this mismatched couple? Will Lu Yuru? The Jiu family's shops were bustling, a sight to behold in young. Their success was unparalleled, a testament to diligent management.
As Zhang Rou inspected the accounts, she turned to her daughter-in-law Lu Yuru with a knowing smile.
Managing a business is like managing a marriage, she said thoughtfully. Both require careful nurturing. But guiding a heart, that's a far more delicate art. After their tour of the shops, Zhang Rou's tone became more personal. You know, Jiusi isn't the dissolute scoundrel everyone paints him to be. At his core, he's a kind boy, fiercely loyal to his friends. She paused, letting her words sink in. His foolishness now comes from 2 things. 1, he's having a childish spat with his father. And 2, he's just naive. He doesn't understand the difficult position you were in. Lu Yuru was deeply moved. Her mother-in-law's words were a balm to her anxious heart, a beacon of understanding she hadn't expected. Later, Lu Yuru met with her father-in-law, Ju. To her surprise, he echoed his wife's sentiments completely. He not only supported her decision to discipline Jiu, but gave her full authority over the entire household. The servants! The guards! They are all at your command, he declared, his eyes firm. Do whatever you must to set that boy straight! Armed with this newfound power, Lu Yuru began her mission. She didn't act rashly. Instead, she spent time speaking with Zhu Guxi's personal maids and servants, gathering intelligence. She learned his habits, his preferences, his true character, and most importantly, his favorite haunts. Her first target was Langshofen, his notorious pleasure house. But she wasn't going to plead or negotiate. Lu Yuru gathered a dozen of the family's sturdest guards, had them draw their swords, and marched straight into the den of revelry. The scene was chaotic. Jiuzi's friends, Yang Wenchang and Chunzan, who were usually so full of bravado, took one look at Lu Yuru's determined face and the gleaming blades behind her and paled. They were impressed by her ferocity but valued their lives more. Without a second thought, they abandoned Gu Jiusi and fled for the exit. What followed became the talk of Yang. The sight of the esteemed young master Jiu being chased through the streets by his new wife, who was brandishing a knife, was a spectacle no one would soon forget. But in truth, Gu Jiusi knew he deserved it. His thoughtless joke at the coming-of-age ceremony had turned her life upside down, nearly undoing 6 years of her painstaking efforts to secure a good future. So, when Lu Yuru finally cornered him and laid out his transgressions, he had no defense. He stood there, speechless, his face burning with shame. In front of everyone at Langshofen, he made a solemn promise. "I will study," he declared, his voice ringing with newfound conviction. "I will study diligently and pass the imperial examinations." The crowd, once jeering, now erupted into a mix of teasing and encouragement. Defeated, but resolute, Gu Jiusi obediently followed his formidable wife back to the Jiu family estate. Meanwhile, a new player arrived in a man named Luo Zisheng, with ambition in his eyes, sought a meeting with Wang Rong, the son of the powerful military governor. "I see the bearing of a dragon in you," Luo Zisheng said, his words heavy with meaning.
Wang Rong, ever cautious, initially feigned unwavering loyalty to the emperor, but he understood the hidden invitation.
The two men sat down for a long, clandestine conversation, planting the seeds of future turmoil. Back at the Jiu Manor, Jiu Linhua and Jiang Rou decided it was the perfect time for a vacation. They announced they were heading to Jishu Pond for some well-deserved relaxation, leaving all household affairs in Lu Yuru's capable hands. As a final gesture of trust, Jiang Rou even left her most trusted personal maid, Ruixu, to serve her daughter in. With his parents gone, Gu Jiusi was well and truly trapped. He was a fish on the chopping block, and Lu Yuru held the cleaver. Every servant, every maid, every guard in the mansion now answered to her. The young master's orders were completely ignored. Of course, Gu Jiusi wasn't going to submit so easily. Old habits die hard. His first instinct was to escape. He remembered a dog hole in a far corner of the estate wall, a secret escape route from his youth. But just as he was about to wriggle his way through, he was unceremoniously grabbed by the legs and dragged back. His own servant, Munan, had betrayed him. Seeing which way the wind was blowing, Munan had switched his allegiance to the new mistress of the house. The location of the dog hole was no longer a secret. Lu Yuru's reign of discipline had officially begun. She had Jiuzi bathed, and his flamboyant silks were replaced with plain, simple white scholar's robes. His entire daily schedule was now meticulously planned by her. He was confined to the study from dawn till dusk. All his cherished playing cards, dice, and other distractions were confiscated. But on the first day, Gu Jiusi was defiant. He simply slept. He slumped over his desk, using the Confucian classics as a pillow, refusing to even open the books. Lu Yuru, however, was unfazed. She simply moved on to her next strategy. That evening, a tantalizing aroma wafted through the estate.
Lu Yuru had set up a grill in the courtyard and was roasting a whole leg of lamb.
The smell drove Jiusi, who had been fasting all day, mad with hunger.
He stumbled out of the study, ready to eat,
only to be blocked by Munan. The servant respectfully relayed the mistress's new rule. "Young master, the mistress says you may eat once you have memorized the first chapter of the Analects." Grumbling, but with his stomach roaring, Gu Jiusi sat down with the book. He discovered something surprising. He wasn't stupid. In fact, once he actually focused, the words came easily. He got past the first few lines and found his rhythm, memorizing the chapter with surprising speed. True to her word, the moment he recited it perfectly, Lu Yuru had a feast of wine and roasted lamb brought to him. But as he ate, she presented her next challenge. "Excellent!" she said with a slight smile. "Now, memorize 5 more chapters before you sleep tonight."
Word of Lu Yuru's dramatic raid on Langshofeng had spread.
Zhang Yuer, a rival of Liu Eurus, heard the story and, seeing an opportunity for mischief, sent a few gossips to whisper the tale to Liu Yuru's strict and traditional father Liu Zhuan, hoping to cause trouble for her. Back in the Jiu household, Gu Jiusi felt a profound chill. Munan's defection was a major blow. To prove his newfound loyalty to Lu Yuru, Munan went a step further. He secretly showed Gu Jiusi a detailed schedule he had drawn up, marking the exact times and routes of Liu Yuru's patrols around the study for the past few days. It was a map of his prison, a clear message that there was truly no escape.
The battle of wits had just begun, and Lu Yuru was winning every round.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more.